Hey, what's a good word, Grandpa Jack?
This is Jack Burns.
Yeah, I know. I could tell from the caller ID.
Dina and I will be there in approximately 18 seconds.
I'm so excited to see those little Fockers.
Gobble, gobble, everybody. It's turkey time. Jack, if you would do the honors.
You're the turkey carver now, Greg.
Thank you, Jack. It's an honor.
I got myself an obsession.
I'm watching you. Well, I have eyes too. So I'll be watching you, watching me.
Fuck this movie. And I'm not even saying F-O-C-K. I'm saying the real way. F-U-C-K, fuck you, little fuckers. I hate this movie.
Hey, save it. You might
No, I ain't got
rating.
Thank you, Spill. Good night.
Here. Only surprise here is how shitty this movie ended up being.
You didn't like them fart jokes, Korey? Come on now.
I can appreciate a fart joke.
I gotta say, with the very
not
first,
when it's the premise of the film.
Yeah.
with the very
Little
first Meet
farts.
the Parents. That's one of those movies that like I liked it the first time I saw it and then didn't like it every other time I've seen it since. But one thing, even while I was liking it, when it mentions that his last name is Focker, I was like, wow, what a cheap joke. I hope they don't run with this. They was like, just forget they said that and move on.
Yeah.
It's a monster of its own doing.
Well, the whole series is a cross between the family film and just a bunch of very familiar premises and the humor behind Three's Company.
I mean, right from the beginning, this movie tells you what it's all about after showing you Ben Stiller and Jessica Alba sharing a moment together while they're sticking their hands up some guy's ass, which is apparently where they pull this movie from. And it's from that point on that you know this movie is nothing but a setup for a bunch of clumsy bathroom or sex jokes, or is showing you every "I think my husband is cheating on me" plotline from every sitcom that you've ever seen. And even then, I was still expecting this movie to tie it all together with some sort of plot, but they can't even do that. It has no plot.
Okay, so Ben Stiller, as I remember, was a nurse from the previous films, and now he's kind of the head of a whole nursing department. Like he's more accountancy nurse, if you will, really. And she is a drug rep. Okay, now this is the guy who these movies have always convinced us is like he loves his wife, he's a good guy, but here he is, like obviously going out of his way to spend extra time with this woman who's kind of obnoxious. Because she's Jessica Alba and she's hot.
I was going to say that, yeah.
So you're like, your premise from the beginning is like, okay, are you telling us that this movie is all about will he or won't he cheat on his wife?
Come on, Grumpy Daddy. Come to Hawaii.
Okay, Grumpy Daddy will think about it. Okay.
Okay. Oh, hey, honey. Hi. Perfect. Pam, this is Andy. Andy, this is Pam, my wife.
Hey.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, too. Your husband is a freaking rock star, but I'm sure you know how lucky you are.
Yeah.
I'm not. She's the rock star. She's a rock star mom and just full-on rockin' person.
Oh.
And I'm just a groupie trying to, carry her amps. No, you're the man.
It's about setting up jokes.
It's like if the first movie was the pilot of a sitcom, and the second movie was maybe like the first episode of like the third season when it was run out of steam. They had to introduce some new characters. You're like, oh, that was cool. This is just like an episode just in the middle randomly of the fifth season.
They jumped the shark and added a little cute kid.
Yeah, this isn't even Sweeps.
You want me to tell you what this movie's about? It ain't about shit, okay? That's what it is. I mean, this movie's ridiculous. You know what? If they ain't gonna even give me the respect of trying to give me a script, plot, then I'm not going to even sit up here and try to describe it what it is.
Korey, you do this to us all the time. You come out and you act like you're mad, but then really you reverse it around and go like, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm pissed.
No, he is mad.
No, I know.
He's been telling me ever since we saw this.
No, I'm very fucking mad about this movie, and I'm not even holding back on this. I try to be fair. Oh, well, there's this little part here that made me laugh, and then this part. I did laugh at some of the stuff in here, and despite that, I still hate this fucking film.
You should have seen him in the theater sitting next to me. About 40 minutes in, he turns to me, he goes, dude, I never say this, but I don't know if I could take much more of this. And I could tell he was not kidding. And I was like, dude, if you need to go, like Coast and I, we got it. We got this one. I understand. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'll stick it out. And I was like, starting to get worried. He's shaking and shit.
But I mean, I was really...
He's going, he sounds like me going, oh.
But it's one of those things... It's one of those things where I was sitting back listening to you two sound like an old couple in there.
Statler and Waldorf.
I know. And I was just like, dude, what were you guys expecting out of a fucking movie like this? It's like, yeah, we're going on one of the shittiest ass movie franchises of all time. How are you not going to expect to be
Let me tell you
pissed?
something. This is why I don't expect to be pissed. I'm sorry, but I've invested too much time and faith in the first Meet the Parents.
Did you go buy all those toys?
No, I was when I had back in the day when I had HBO. Apparently, I did not sign up for HBO. I signed up for the Meet the Parents channel because that shit was on every day when I came home from work. And guess what? I sat back and I watched it. I'm the asshole that everybody yelled at when I said, "Oh, it ain't that bad." You know our friends. You know our group of friends are like, "Oh, really? You like that? Aren't you a critic?" Hey, man, it made me laugh. Oh man, you don't like Rob De Niro not taking himself seriously? Oh man. And then the second one came out, and I said, "Okay, this is really bad." All right, but there were moments that I laughed. You know, they got Barbra Streisand and Dustin Hoffman to come out and like liven things up. Maybe they didn't know what they were getting into, you know, but okay,
They were
that's
nominated,
fine.
right?
You know, it's gone down, but I'll wipe my hands clean. We're done with that business there. Then all of a sudden they decide to turn this shit into a goddamn Fockers trilogy. First of all, we don't see them that much in the movie, and there's even a little plot.
Wait, them who? Like the kids?
The kids, yeah.
They're barely.
No, the kids are not in this movie.
Yeah, they're a plot device to get the movie to where it needs to get, which is the
and
big
there's even a
birthday party.
subplot in there where we're trying to get them into the human learning school, and they don't even resolve that.
Yeah. No, they
happens.
dropped that entirely. I didn't even think about that. They're like the whole controversy, like the little girl's got this personality where she's really smart, but she's kind of forceful, and the little boy is kind of a retard. And they're like, okay, and they're who's the president or the person who just
Laura Dern.
Yeah, Laura Dern, who like you just never see again after this whole like what's gonna happen? Are the kids gonna get in? I don't know. Does it matter? The movie doesn't give a shit. So why should
Wish
we?
they should have at least stayed on that plot, because at least that was funny. Seeing that kid acting like a complete retard actually had me laughing. 'Cause it's like, oh yeah, he's obviously the dumb one. He's trying to put those blocks up his ass.
This is like finally a character I can identify with.
Well, you know,
I like
man,
this kid.
I'm looking at all these movies, like even the ones I don't like. Well, there's only two that I really can actually stand. Well, the first one, okay, Ben Stiller comes home to meet the father, played by Rob De Niro, who's a ball buster. He has to deal with that, and they work their way through. All right, maybe in the end they'll be buddies and things will be all right. Second film, they're still not getting along. We still get the same old shit, but we get to meet Ben Stiller's parents. They're the liberal hippie type parents going up against the hard-nosed, military guy right here who does everything by the book. And
same shit we've seen before.
It didn't really work, but you know what? They had a theme. This one has nothing.
No, it's all the leftover jokes.
Well, it's a
Make it into
retread.
the other ones.
Honestly, I've always hated these fucking movies.
Yeah.
I never enjoy seeing them. The biggest heartbreak about these movies is that Robert De Niro is starring in them. Because they're all stupid one-note jokes strung through a completely idiotic story that has absolutely nothing to do with family. At least that's what I thought watching the first two. And this one, it's all of those movies combined, all in one big shitball that they're just going to give out to the audience who loves to take that shitball and play with. This movie is going to make money.
To call this movie formulaic is an insult to almost every other formulaic film. It really is, because I mean, you remember American Wedding? Okay, the third American Pie film. How it was like a series of set pieces with practically no plot to string them together, that only purpose was served to recreate some of the moments from the previous films that were popular. This is exactly that.
Can I say something about that movie, though? It was working towards a wedding. This movie's working towards, I don't know.
It's working towards the kid's birthday party here, because they talk about it the whole film. Like, the kid's birthday party, we got to have this huge birthday party. It's like Owen Wilson comes back into the picture again, who presumably now, I mean, like, it starts off, you're like, okay, I kind of like what they're doing, where it's like, he doesn't give a shit about, Ben Stiller's wife anymore. Yeah. He's got his own thing going on. He's about to ask this other woman to go. You're like, okay, these characters have evolved a little. That lasts for 5 fucking minutes before he ends up with like a tattoo of his wife on his back. And you're like, really, movie?
And that's how every scene is set up, where they give you an idea that these characters have gone past their issues. Yeah. And then something stupid happens to where it basically pulls them around full circle again. So it's like you're rewatching the first movie. It's a remake of the first movie.
But like 100 times worse.
Way worse. No
unrealistically exaggerated.
Yeah, no thought gone.
Because like in the first movie, when Robert De Niro's paranoid and he's like setting up little traps for Ben Stiller to prove he's kind of a worthless douche, you're like, okay, well, he doesn't really know. He's a jerk and he doesn't really know, but he doesn't really know this guy. So this movie starts with them. I mean, they're kind of friends now, really. You're like, okay, they've been through all this. There's a certain amount of respect, and that is flat out said. But when a misunderstanding leads Robert De Niro to believe Ben Stiller is cheating on his wife, he turns into the biggest douchebag of all time. I mean, to the point of physical violence. You're like, wait, this would never go here. This doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, no, this movie, it really, if there was something to hold it together, somewhat of a script, it would be okay. Meanwhile, we've had 3 movies for Robert De Niro to lighten up, okay? I mean, this guy is a total fucking asshole in this film. And by this point, you think that, okay, I'm not even expecting them to like get along, but let's not have a movie called Little Fuckers. If they're gonna be that way, let's just have the movie where they go on a road trip, you know, or something like that. Or let's have a Sanford and Son version of this. But no, they got to give us this nonsense here. And I really have progressively hated Ben Stiller for just constantly taking Rob De Niro's crap through all these films. I mean, the guy has no spine. Rob De Niro is the kind of person where you would kill him at some point. You would, you would try.
That was the problem I had even with the first movie, where I was just like, look, there's no way anybody would go through this without at least taking their girlfriend aside and saying, look, if your dad's going to act like this, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
There have been so many situations where Ben Stiller has had an accident with Robert De Niro. I mean, one of those accidents should be the one where Ben Stiller walks away and says, hey, your father's dead. There was nothing I could do. You know, like that scene in this movie where he buries him under sand. That should be the scene where he just leaves him there.
Yeah.
You know,
oops, I didn't see nothing.
Yeah. No, this is fucking ridiculous,
that's
man.
horrible that happened.
Well, it's funny seeing you guys like really knock your brains around trying to make sense out of this garbage.
That's funny to me too.
because it is total garbage.
It is.
It is just it's pure nonsense that people go out and see. You know, people are like I said, people are going to go see this movie. It's going to make tons of money, and that's why it works, because people like this kind of brain dead type of family humor. You know,
so you give it a matinee.
I will give it a full price, just because it completed its job finally. As far as the trilogy, it did come full circle. All the answers that you've always been dying to know about have been answered, and yes, it all leads up to this movie series means nothing but bullshit.
You were talking about Ben Stiller and not liking Ben Stiller. You know me, I'm on the Ben Stiller hate team completely. I'm waving the pennant, I'm wearing the colors, the whole deal. In fact, there's a terrible movie called with Joaquin Phoenix that came out this year. I'm Still Here, where Ben Stiller's in it for a little while, and Joaquin Phoenix is calling him out for like his movies sucking so bad, his comedies, and that was the only moment of that whole film I liked, and I identified with Joaquin Phoenix. I'm like, God, dude, you nailed him on that. But you know, here I will admit the one thing I kind of liked was that, and I think this is just because he's so exhausted with making these movies at this point, because he just looks tired, but he doesn't really put up with a lot of Robert De Niro's shit here. He just kind of goes, Robert De Niro's yelling at him, and he doesn't, like in the previous movies, he gets all goofy and wow, wow, wow. He's just like, looks bored. He's like, whatever, man, and just walks off. And I'm like, good, don't take that shit. Just go, just walk away from that asshole. Don't play into his game.
He's had the look that I've had ever since day one of walking into that first fucking Meet the Shitheads movie. I'm like, this is the type of movie that they're waiting. It's like the Pied Piper playing his flute.
Yeah,
and there's an audience. I don't know who the fuck they are. I don't know where they come from, whose dick they're sucking, but they come flocking into to this series, and I just don't get it. It's not meant for me to understand or get.
I really did like Robert De Niro in the first movie. Jack Burns is the guy's name. Like I said, you know, he's an ex-secret agent guy or something, you know, and that was cool. I thought that was clever. And now he's just a dick. And
he's kind of a retard.
Yeah, and you know, and we've come to like kind of think like, okay, this family is just very ultra conservative and just very straight and narrow, to now this is a family of mutants. I will say that there were some scenes, and you heard me laughing in there. There's a scene where, I mean, I still laugh at certain things that Robert De Niro's character will do to go out his way just to try to track down on Ben Stiller. Like there's that scene where they're on the train, and Ben Stiller knows that he's being followed. And it's funny, like, seeing him being followed. He's like, look, man, I know you're following me. And then there's a scene where I thought it was cheesy, but there's a ball pit scene. I'm going to laugh at anything with a ball pit.
Well, that was the funniest scene
that
of the
was
whole movie.
That was
the one scene that was laugh out loud.
Yeah, so they do a takeoff on Jaws that involves Ben Stiller, Rob De Niro, and a bunch of kids in a ball pit. That's all I'll say. You can take it from there. But like I said, man, you know, again, those don't offer anything to the story. It's just they're just there for quick, cheap laughs.
And even in the context of the film versus the other films, where the first film at least were like, okay, these are plausibly real people. You know, I mean, exaggerated, but you know, okay, maybe. You look at this and here, it's like, really? He's like swimming around in the ball pit like that? Okay, all right, sure. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah. And I like at near the end of the movie where you say Robert De Niro just gets really violent with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
They had a kids' party. They're fighting. And people still just walking around eating cotton candy, playing
just kinda
games.
looking, hey,
Nobody's looking at anything. Like everybody's just doing their business.
Knockdown, drag out.
Knockdown, fucking. I mean, they're beating the shit out of each other with there's blood involved and everything. And all these kids like, man, this party's too good to turn away from.
Which, to be fair, with what
got a clown.
Kids watching wrestling and stuff, they probably think this is the best part. You know, I wish when I was a kid they had like a big fight like that, and they'd be like, "Fuck yeah, this party just got awesome." It's
Leon, real quick though. I mean, this is probably going to break your heart, but you know, for me, I've really been waiting for a really long time to see De Niro and Harvey Keitel act together in a movie. And the sad fucking thing about this film is that Ben Stiller and his evil powers managed to get those two back together to have a decent scene where they're yelling at each other, where Harvey Keitel plays a landscaper who just completely destroyed the backyard of where the birthday party was supposed to happen. And Robert De Niro's like, what in the fuck are you doing? And they get into a little tussle with each other, which is like, that's great, but why in the fuck did I have to sit through and watch it in this film?
Another story, by the way, that went absolutely nowhere.
That
they don't resolve at all.
That could have had some fucking meat to it, you know? But of course, I'm like, no, I wasn't expecting. I'm like, no, he's going to disappear just like every other motherfucker in this movie's disappeared.
Yeah. No, you know what, man? I think y'all know what I think about this. What are your ratings?
This movie is some old bullshit, but it's pretty close to a fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, I hated it so much. I mean, even with those moments I laughed, immediately afterwards I felt a sense of guilt. I was like, it wasn't really funny.
Take a Karen Silkwood shower when you get home.
I know.
I have to admit, Dustin Hoffman, as much as
Hoffman's in it
he's
too.
in it, but you know, when he's in it, it's actually, he's pretty charming. I mean, you can't.
You know, this means on the fourth one they're going to get Al Pacino involved.
You know,
why do you have to say that out loud?
I was actually waiting for an Al Pacino cameo at some point in this movie, but when he pops up, he's pretty goddamn funny. But
well, you know, it is an epic family trilogy saga type thing. So you know,
but, I have to give it some old bullshit. I was on the verge of giving it a fuck you, but I have to admit that scene in the ball pit really saved it from the biggest fuck you. Only because I was like, wow, this is awesome. You know, this is great. This I could see over and over. This would make a fantastic YouTube clip, and that's about it.
That's why I would love Jaws that much.
Oh yeah, that's why I would like to see a movie with just those two in somewhat of a story. But man, look, at when it's all done, this is just a big cash out for all these people. I mean, you got Barbara Streisand. You got some legends in this movie. Barbara Streisand, Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro. Yeah, these people are in it for the money. I ain't getting a check. I ain't getting paid. So for this, that kind of makes me angry to see them sell it. I know we're not back in the classic days of Hollywood, even back as much as the 70s. But
those days are over, Johnny.
But damn,
nothing's over.
This is really sad for me to see all these people in this one movie.
It is.
If it was even remotely funny, I'd be forgiven. But you know what? I got to all those people. I got to just say, fuck you, man, for doing this. I mean,
20 years ago, this would have been a Saturday Night Live skit, not a movie.
Oh my! Don't even bring tears to my eyes. This is. We will look as of right now. We have two summaries of what Hollywood has changed into. We have Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, all those kind of films, leading up to what? Little Fuckers.
Yeah,
and that is
you know what?
That is a sad.
This is the only time I will ever do this. Let me change my rating to a fuck you, because just because
Korey brought it home.
Just because of what you just said, you're very right. I mean, in a ball pit scene doesn't justify.
We can look at that on YouTube. Man. You know, it's really not that hard to think of.
I could have seen that for free.
Even the guy David, is it one of the Weitz brothers directed this? Paul Weitz. You know,
Jay Roach took a hike from this. Didn't even.
Jay Roach is living in a trailer somewhere. So seriously, he said, "I'm done with this kind of shit" until they give him another big paycheck. But it was this kind of thing that I could only think that he said, "I'm finished." But you know, David Weitz is somebody that I thought like, all right, and Paul Weitz too. Both of those guys, after seeing something like About a Boy, way. I thought like, okay, they're coming around. Apparently
but
not.
Then they'll do like what that really shitty Twilight movie. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the second one. I have to clarify when I say that.
and then
Shitty Twilight
then they'll
movie.
come around and do something like this. You look, if for nothing else, this movie just annoyed the hell out of me for trying to see how many things that they could do with the word fucker. It is pathetic to sit up there and see Robert De Niro have to utter those words, the God fucker, and them actually do a little bit of a riff.
I'm sorry,
Oh, that's right. I
Maybe
forgot
it wouldn't have
about
been
that,
as bad if it hadn't been Robert De Niro with this 10-minute erection joke thing, walk around with a heart on, but it's Robert fucking De Niro. And you know what? I mean, maybe he doesn't even know himself, but we as film fans, people involved in the entertainment industry should have more respect for an icon than that, than even let him do that. I'm sorry. I was like, this is making me sick watching this.
The moment
you know what?
some-
You're
yeah.
right. This is a fuck you.
No, the moment somebody came up and said, and showed him the script and said, you know what? You're going to have a hard-on joke in here. He should have beat the shit out of him. He should have slapped him right there on the
Ben
spot.
Stiller is going to be cradling your dick, okay, in this scene.
Now, this
All
is-
right? Is that okay?
Yeah. No, listen.
This is a fuck you only because just sitting here and just thinking about this movie, reminiscing about what we saw, it really, and you think about all the actors, and it is kind of a sad state where you're like, wow, are today's acting greats? Like Christian Bale, is he going to end up in one of these fucking movies?
pretty much.
Is fucking Ryan Gosling,
Yep.
is he going to end up in it as soon as he has kids and is happy?
Oh, yeah.
and is sitting in his nice mansion? Is he going to make one of these fucking movies?
I
down
know
the
they're
road?
looking at us and saying, so what, bitch, I got paid. You know what, big deal. But I got to
But you know
watch
what?
you do this kind of
Fuck
stuff.
you, I'm not going to see your movie. all right?
Yeah, you say it's a trilogy? No, this is going to be a quadrilogy.
Quadrilogy?
It's something, because this is what we should be ready for. We missed motherfucker, fucker, fuck him too, don't fuck around, dog fucker, fuck her good, fuck her hard, fuck her in the ass, and the last part I'm going to say is what I'm going to give this movie. Go fuck yourself.
Damn.
I want you to represent our new drug, Sustengo.
It's an erectile dysfunction medicine.
You know any sexually frustrated old dudes?
Hello, Greg. You mind explaining this?
Jack, did you take one of those pills?
What do you mean?
If you've had that for more than 4 hours, you gotta get to an ER and get you a shot.
There's no way I'm going to an emergency room with this thing. You need to stick me, and you need to stick me now.
I'm not comfortable giving you. I'm not gonna. No.
Little fuckers. I'd like a few minutes alone with him just to erase what he saw from his memory.
No. You're not going to erase my son's memory.
Give a little